welcome to episode 4 of the Amb Ant Podcast. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Amber.
And today we are talking about Mushoku Tensei, also known as Jobless Reincarnation.
Mushoku Tensei.
Yes, that one. First off, Mushoku Tensei is a story about a 34-year-old shut-in who basically gets run over by Truck-kun, gets isekai'd over to another world as Rudius Greyrat, and he starts life with his previous life's memories as a baby, so the classic isekai.
Mm-hmm. And that is why I don't like it. Ah!
And that is why I like it.
I know. This is like your favorite anime.
It was
of all time.
Pretty high up there. Not anime, but
okay.
I would say light
Light
novel.
novel.
Yeah, so I read the light novel first. Read the entire way through. I think it was finished like a long time ago, so it was a while back that I read it, but recently we watched the anime.
Well, yeah, you watched the first season by yourself, like when it just came out, right? The first one?
I think I watched some of it. I think
okay.
we watched it together as well, but I watched the first season by myself, and then I rewatched it with you.
Yeah, you were like vouching for this, and then I was like, oh my god, I don't like isekai. I know I don't like isekai, but okay, sure, because like I trust you. I trusted you.
And it was still good the second way around.
Okay.
The second time around.
I
Season 1,
understand why people like it.
Still good.
I understand why people like it, but I have to say, like, oh my god, it just doesn't suit my personal taste. Like, I see, like, all the major anitubers raving about it. Like, oh, best anime of 2021. The animation quality, yes. But, like, the story... But, yeah. Why would you, like, rate it so highly or, like, recommend it so passionately to me?
So it was one of the classics in my book, just due to the kind of he was not all that in his previous life. I'm sure like some of us can relate. I can certainly relate. You're stuck as a kind of neat. You don't really have much going on. You're just kind of chilling at home in your room all day, every day, not really up to too much. Kind of like the beginning of COVID, honestly. But
yeah, I was gonna say that's just me and COVID. Yes, everyone can relate now.
Yeah, I think everyone has a little bit of experience with that these days. But yeah, I mean, it was good. Like due to that, we could all relate, and then we want to be isekai into another world as something either to get another try, which is a lot of isekais these days, or to just become something better. And I think the show kind of did it correctly. You have Rudius starting from a baby, like he started working hard. He started like learning magic, increasing his mana reserves through training. He started learning swordplay from his dad, like at a younger age. It was a good journey.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Again, I keep on saying that because, like, oh god, this is so widely loved by so many people that I respect greatly. But it's like that. Okay, that's why I just don't like isekai. I see that it is kind of like a redemption, like hero's journey kind of thing. Like, oh yeah, he had all this like struggle and very bad traits, honestly. Like he was a bit like despicable in his previous life, and then now that he's in this new world, he can have the chance to try again. But then that is like my biggest issue with it, because I just feel like he was just transported into this world with like zero social structure that like he was used to, and like all the struggles just magically disappeared, rather than him still having to deal with that and trying to like overcome that with like sheer will or like hard work. So then I just felt like it was really unsatisfying to see like he just suddenly have this like great life, and back in the day he was like, overweight, and just like everyone just despised him, and like just someone who's like treated like trash. But like now that he's like a blonde, blue-eyed little boy that all the girls fall for, he just like genius as well. Like he learned magic so early before everyone else. And I was like, why? Why is he just like all good now that he's like in a different world? That annoys me.
Yeah, for me, I feel like your biggest issue is just the lack of like a struggle, internal like self-development struggle for Rudius. I feel like there was more of that in the light novel, but also it's just generally not the focus of the show to like show trauma porn or anything like that. He's just kind of
I love trauma porn.
Yeah, it was more of like a journey to kind of discover this new world, and like there's like mysteries around with the of course spoilers ahead, but I guess even light novel spoilers ahead since I read it all. With the human god, like he was really mistrustful of the human god, and that turned out to be correct because
oh, that is a big spoiler.
Yeah, it was, huh?
Oh my god, we have to like put a warning in the video. I feel like that's I didn't know.
I always do.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so there's a lot of issues with the human god because the human god is like behind everything. So when he was like kind of
I had my suspicions. However, okay.
Yeah, the human god isn't actually out to help him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, even then, I feel like he grows to be a different person. Honestly, like I don't think it's that far-fetched to just kind of drop most of your trauma because some of your triggers are no longer there, right? So if you have like an aversion to school and school doesn't exist anymore, then you can't have that aversion anymore because it's not a thing. And if you have like an aversion to like a truck, right, and there are 0 trucks around, then it's like, you can't be triggered by a truck anymore, right? Where he's like, he died like in front of a truck. That's pretty traumatizing, but yeah, like he wouldn't have any of that trauma anymore since, technology.
Yeah, but that is exactly why I don't like it, because like they just like disappeared. Like the structures, like people bullying him, like his classmates and whatnot. And like now that like he doesn't have classmates, like these struggles, these obstacles are magically like poof gone. And I would want some parallels, I guess, like
right. There was one parallel in the first season, right, where he was like
there
were other kids, right, and then he was like scared of them because they would make fun of him. But then
he got over it way too fast.
Right.
Me.
It just wasn't the same situation anymore. Like he was just like, wait, like I already died. Like, I'm over it because when you die, like everything's already over.
Yeah, but then at the same time, like with, like I know a lot of like people who like struggled with cancer and whatnot. This is like slightly tangent, but it's like some people would think like, oh yeah, now that you like had cancer and you like went through so much, you can like just do whatever now, just live life to the fullest. But I don't think so. It's like, yeah, like such like something like, oh, even that traumatizing thing happened, nothing matters anymore. That's not actually true. So then I just feel like everything that was in this as like hardships, it's not actually relatable and realistic for me. And then that kind of bothers me, especially thinking like, I keep on telling you how I just feel like there's a huge disconnect between like Rudis and like his previous self as like the 34-year-old, and I just cannot connect them to be one person. And the fact that it keeps on like flashing back to him being that like 30-something-year-old and all his trauma, it doesn't help, because then I'm reminded like, oh yeah, that is who he is at the core. But then like in reality, that doesn't reflect in his actions or like personality even.
Right. So I think I kind of understand your concern about that, which is the fact that he was 34, kind of a pervert, like not really up to too much, didn't hold down a job, or like wasn't studying, or like didn't do anything basically, and he was just kind of jerking off in his room literally. And then compare that to like his new life as a baby. Like
he tries so hard.
He tries really hard, he like is very polite. He's like just generally
He
yeah.
uses like the honorifics, like what do you call it? Just like
Yeah.
formal speech all
And
the time.
And then when he's talking to the human god, he's just like rude and like coarse and like he yells at him and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's like that's not even because again, like he literally uses formal speech in his new life all the time. He
Right.
never used that when he was like the 34-year-old, and then it's just like. It's so jarring to me to think that they're the same person. I'm just like, oh my god, why? If you show that, like, reflect it in you. I just want to see more of that, and I want to see, like, this being the message to the people who are, like, watching this, because you know how it's, like, relatable that, like, we, as, like, a society nowadays, we just, like, kind of have the tendency to shut ourselves in and whatnot, and then things just seem really hopeless, and, like everyone wants this new chance to, like, be able to improve and, like, you know, just get another chance at another life.
Well, you see, the message is if you get hit by Truck-kun, we will have another chance.
See, but then it's like, oh yeah, you have to like fucking like die and then be in a different world, look different. Like, if all these happen, then you get like a better life. That bothers me.
You know, I think that there is a little bit more, I guess, imagination, I would say, to it, where if you do get into this like magical, like unrealistic situation, then like perhaps magical unrealistic things can happen. So like, for example, like you said, the cancer survivors, right? Like they don't magically they aren't magically able to do everything like after they survive it, right?
Just party every day.
Yeah.
Live.
It's not exactly the case that like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Sometimes it just like makes you very crippled. so like it's not necessarily great to like go through all these hardships. You aren't necessarily better for it, like as a result. So that's one thing that like I think you're trying to say like you wanted to see him like since he had all these like troubles and traumas in the past, kind of take that into his new life, which is exactly why I like it so much, is that like he died and it was wiped clean. Like his brain was, you know how there's like a mind body connection and stuff like that, right? Like if you're like overweight, I have like slight experience with that, not really too much, but if you're like I would say like I would imagine like if you're overweight or like if you don't have like any friends or like if you don't do anything all day, right? Like I have slight experience with that. Then it would be like you're kind of, your body is like kind of, I don't know, wasting away. Yeah, like you're just slow and sluggish. Your mind isn't like what it used to be. You're kind of, you're kind of foggy minded, But then once you reincarnate into another world, there's fresh air, right? Your body's great again. Like you have people around you who like care about you and like want you to succeed. It's just like he didn't have any of this support in his previous life, and then he instantly got just a retry at life, which is like, I would say that does a lot over the years, so he grows into a different person.
Yeah, but I just feel like it's too drastic. And again, like I understand what you're saying, but it's like, oh, I just want to see some shadow of that, I guess. And then like
we do see some shadow of his previous self when he when he
flashes back.
Well, I was gonna say like when he's like being a pervert and trying to like sneak up on his
Yeah, speaking of that, I see so many people like on Chinese social media as well, like talking about how perverted it is and like why this is so problematic and bad. I understand that as being seen as problematic, but then I just don't feel like that is my biggest problem with the show. It's like I don't really want to use my value judgments living in this culture that I have grown up with to like judge a culture that made this and being like, oh yeah, like people putting panties on their heads, that is so disgusting and bad. Because like if you look at old anime, that happens actually so much.
Yeah, so it's just I don't think, like I agree, we can't use our culture like because we're like Chinese
and American, basically
Chinese American, and they're like Japanese, right? It's like it's not the same, so we can't really use our like perception of what's good or bad to like judge their culture. It's a little suspicious.
It's unfair.
Yeah, it's not very fair.
Yeah. So then it's like that I'm okay with, but like also like people saying like, oh yeah, he's so like child predator because like he's literally like being with these like children. Oh, I understand the argument, but like not so much. I feel like speaking of that, like one of the scenes that I'm kind of like reminded of is like when he was trying, he didn't know that Surufi was like a girl, right? And then like he wanted to like, just bathe with him, quote unquote him as his friend. And then like he was just like, oh, just take off your clothes, take off your clothes. And it's like, oh, when she was not like paying attention, she just like got like her pants off, and it's like, oh, she's actually a girl. That I heard a lot of people saying like, oh, that's sexual assault. And I'm just like, oh, I don't think so. But my problem with that scene is that like a 34-year-old wouldn't do that. I just feel like that's way too childish. It is something like a 4-year-old would do. But then like when you're 34, when you like see a like child, you don't feel the urge to like, hey, like let me do this playful thing. Like that's stupid.
Yeah, it was more of like he was just trying to be playful. I would figure like he's already like many years into his new life at that point, so it's like he's like kind of reformed into like something else, so he would like kind of do that. But honestly, I don't know if I would read too much into that.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to read too much into that. No, because I just see that as like being pointed as a problematic scene, and I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's problematic, but like not in that way. It's like to me, it's just like there are like hints of that dropped in the thing that are just like I cannot connect him with like the 34-year-old him, like things like that being an evidence of just like, oh, inconsistent. Why is he doing this? This is so stupid to do.
Yeah, I just remember I remember that scene. It was pretty funny. But yeah, just generally like my memory of the show was when he first started to like my strongest memory, I guess, so far of season 1 at least, was when he was learning magic and he like made this big water like little bubble thing and then like shot it out, then destroyed the house. It's just like that's kind of cool, you know. He just like trains every day and he like because magic doesn't really exist here, right? You got magicians, but they're not real. So so basically, he just kind of learns magic from the ground up in this new world. I think that's what I would do too if I was in a new world. Like I would want to explore.
Yeah, and I see like the kind of like satisfaction in watching that. It's like even like working out in real life. Sometimes it's like, oh, you just work out, and then like suddenly you can do a pull up, and then it's like super satisfying to feel. It's like, whoa, like I did put in the days of hard work, and then something great to me because I cannot do a pull up like miraculously happened. I understand that, but I guess that's maybe like a pacing issue that I have with it. Like I would want like a slower kind of like burn to it rather than like, oh yeah, after one episode suddenly he can do that. I know that like time did pass,
Yes.
but I didn't feel it.
Yeah, so I guess even in the light novel, I would say that like his early years were kind of skipped by. Like they didn't talk about like every single day that he was like a baby, and then they didn't talk that like they didn't say anything about like him being like 3, 4, right, 5. They only started really when he was like 7 or 8, right, and then like time skips happen as well, where it just kind of skips ahead here and there. He's like suddenly in a new place. He's like teaching magic, and then like he's suddenly in a new place, right? Season 2, it's like suddenly transported to the demon continent. Just it was a like yeah. I felt like the light novel was. I felt like the light novel at least was decently placed. They kind of skipped over some things in the anime, but I felt like it was still good.
I get it, but it's just to me subjectively that was just some issues that I had. Cause like overall, it's just like he just became this like really calm, cool, collected like mastermind who like like yeah, 1 second he was learning magic, the next he's teaching magic, and then like oh yeah, he's the strongest of like the oh my god, what do you call it again? Like when they were like a trio and then they were like doing things.
when they were a trio,
Yeah, they had a
or
name even like
Dead End.
Yeah, Dead End.
They're,
Like
well, he wasn't the strongest.
Oh, like their group was just like infamous, right?
Oh yeah, because they had like a Superdia with them, right?
Yeah.
They had Regerd.
Yeah, but then it's just like, oh yeah, he's so special that he like even reformed this. A Superdia, I cannot.
Right, so the Superdia, like the Superds weren't actually evil. They were just so
Cursed.
they were just cursed by this one dude. I forgot his name, either Pendor or like. Do you remember his name?
I don't remember names at all.
Yeah, I forgot his name as well. It was someone. Yeah, someone important later. But basically they just like the reason that they were so strong is because. From my memory, in the light novel, like Regerd kind of protected them, like throughout. Like he just kind of, like he was this very OP character, and then he just kind of swung his spear around and killed everything. It's pretty cool. But yeah, like I don't know if I think I liked the Demon Continent arc. It was pretty cool. In the light novel as well.
Yeah, but I'm just like, why are they so cool? Why does he get so much respect? Why is he always the smartest one in the room? Like, oh, he is so like main character-esque, and it just makes me like, angry. But
I also want to point out that it wasn't all like handed to him or something like that. Like they did have like failures, like multiple failures in fact. So like the one time, I guess even in the Demon Continent arc, we're kind of getting into season 2 here, but he let the one kid die, because he was trying to like bait like use them as bait to like increase their reputation, and then the kid just dies, and then he's like, wait, I messed up. Regerd got pretty mad, and then the other time he was about to kill the horseman, and then rain came, and then it kind of scared everyone away, so everything was ruined anyway. There's another time where he met Orsted, season 2. This is all season 2, and then they just kind of got killed, basically. They all like got destroyed very fast.
But then he just like bounced right back up. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Why? I want more porn, like torture porn.
Okay. True.
Feel
Yeah.
more pain, god damn it. Heal slower.
Yeah, and then there was that one time where like after they had sex, I guess, Eris just like kind of ditched him, and then
What the heck?
and then he just felt felt sad as well.
I understand why she like left the whole thing. I'm just like, oh my god, I understand the logic behind like, oh, they wrote it that way. Like, I understand why like this person is like this, but it's just, oh, I don't like it, and I just feel like it's super like not human. Like, none of the characters are fully fleshed out. Like, everyone, like I've told you before, like other than the main character, I just feel like all the characters I can describe in one sentence or less, just like a word, like a few words, and then it bothers me. Like Reincarnation, like especially, he was so one note and so flat.
Yeah. Regerd was just Superman, who's like kind of hiding out.
Superman who likes children. Period.
Ooh, he likes the children. That's right. He has a thing for children.
No, don't say that.
Okay. Well,
He likes children.
Yes.
He protects the children.
That's right.
Yes.
But yeah, like one thing I feel like the characters are pretty straightforward as well. Yeah. You got.
I get it. Like, if you want to say like good, it's like straightforward. But if you want to say bad, I can just say like they're flat and one notes, right? So then,
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty straightforward. It's not like you're getting flipped at every moment, like King's Ranking, right? Like we just covered King's Ranking. The characters flip all the time. They're very confusing. You can't figure them out.
But like, I've said like Odd Taxi, like the Shades of Grey, is just like to like perfection. Like, I just feel like it's human, it's relatable. It's like they're doing things are questionable, but like that's fine because like those desires I can relate to. Like I would want money sometimes, right? I would want like a life with like an 18-year-old girl, sure, why not? As a 20-something woman, yes. But it's like,
Oh my god. Okay, you can see that. Yes, I agree.
no, like I see it, but then like in this, it's like the shame, the like struggle, like the tsundere-ness. Like, why is she such a tsundere? Like Erisu. Oh my god! Like all of the people, they're just so like anime character like. Oh,
Oh, there's the alarm for something else. Okay.
excuse me. But yes. Continue.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, the gray rats are like this noble family, and they're all kind of the same-ish. Like it feels like they're like kind of one, kind of their what is it? What do we even see of the gray rats? Right, we saw Xanath and Paul.
Oh, like Paul was just like, why did he also fuck the maid? Why did he do it? Why was he forgiven so easily?
You gotta get in there, dude.
No, absolutely not.
Let's go, Paul.
No, and then like his children, like the sister. We've only seen like one sister for now, like Aisha, or right?
Yeah, there's Aisha and then there's Norn.
Yeah, but like we've never seen the other sister yet, so it's like I guess.
We saw both Norn and Aisha. Norn was
Yeah.
with Paul when after like season 2.
Oh yeah. I remember now. Oh, I remember. Like the yellow hair.
Yeah, the yellow-haired one who's younger,
yeah.
and then Aisha's a little older. At when she was like trapped. I didn't really like that arc. I felt like it was a little boring, but still, it's okay.
Speaking of which, like when he finally got reunited with Paul, like it was like I wanted some human like feeling, emotion, kind of like written in there with like complexity. And just like, oh yeah, connection back to his old life when he was a hikikomori, and even though his parents loved him, like when they were trying to give him food, but he would like shut them out. But then like now he finally understands family connection and like how important it was to like see his father again. You know, it's like I wanted something with like a bigger like emotional punch in my soul, and then that like just was like a missed opportunity to me.
Yeah, Rudius was just happy to see his dad again. He was like, "Yo, what's up? What's up, dude?"
No, that's not true, dolls. That's like he did, and then like there was like the fight, but then the fight was so contrived. Rather than like a fight like that, I would want to see like more like introspection on just like familial like parental kind of connection. It's like the fight was just like, oh, Paulu's like super mad because it's like, oh, why didn't you find us? You were so happy over there, right? It's like, no, why are you so childish? I know, like, Paul is, like, written as, like, a very childish person, but it's like, how can you just say, like, oh, yeah, you must have had it easy. And then it's like, oh, no, father, I actually had it really difficult, too. That fight was just, like, unnecessary. Like, I wanted other, like, the emotion was just so artificial, and that angered me.
Yeah, it was pretty, what was it? Felt Asian a little bit. He's like, why didn't you do more? He's like a high expectations Asian dad, maybe.
Oh, no, it was just not realistic. Like, he would show more love if he were actually Asian. It's like, you have to show love in different ways. Like, you can say that, like, why didn't you do more? But then you have to show your love in, like, giving them good food and, like, clothing. I don't know. Things like that. That's what's truly, like, an Asian parent.
True.
Well, just that situation. Missed opportunity to me.
Okay, so we talked a lot about strengths and weaknesses,
Yes.
didn't we? Yeah. Sort
Well,
of.
strengths.
So what did Mushoku Tensei do right?
For me, well, the animation did so much right. Like, all of the attention to detail, even, like, down to the food, the environment, it made the world just feel very, like,
It felt really alive, right?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Like, no, it's just, yes, it just felt really, like, realistic and alive. But then it's like, that just makes you feel like, why did you put so much money in a story like this? Put your money into a better story, god damn it.
Dude, the story, animation, pretty good.
The fight scenes were dynamic.
Yeah, fight scenes were pretty good as well. You got a main character who's just reformed. You know, he's a reformed man. He's not gonna get reported anymore, and he's just off doing the good work.
But he is not a reformed man. Like, he's still, like, the issues that he had in the previous life just either disappeared because, like, the world is so different now, or he just, like, chose to ignore them, and then he's still that. And it's like, but, like, it's just, like, not being addressed. Why don't you address the problems? Form a connection. If you want to show him as being the 34-year-old, just have the 34-year-old problems resurface or like just echo somewhere else.
Yeah, so that's definitely not. That was probably not the point of the show.
Not strength.
So yes, that was not a strength. Basically, I really like the action adventure. I think, yeah. You kind of have an issue without like with the characters and like how the sad parts and like the trauma parts were kind of somewhat skipped over. But yeah, it wasn't really meant to like dwell on the past or anything like that. It was just meant to explore the new world. He's getting stronger. In the light novel, it was more about like how strong he was getting. And I really like that, the weak to strong progression. And even at the end, he wasn't the strongest. He was like one of the strongest. And like, I remember at the end, the stone had his name on it. He was like number 8 or 9. And then he ended up getting up to like maybe number like 3 or something, I want to say. Like, eventually. Spoilers, of course. Of course, everything we talk about is spoilers. But yeah, like he just becomes weak to strong. He like figures out like magic. Even like he does magic research in the magic university. There's like a ton of other stuff that happens. It's just really great.
An academic, would you say?
I wouldn't say he's an academic. He was
Go academia.
He was somewhat of an academic, yeah. Later on, he was doing a lot of research, and then he was always like very like ever since he lost to Orsted instantly, he got very paranoid that he would just like get wrecked instantly, like by these like top powers on the stone, right?
You see, like that's paranoia. It's just like his struggles in the new life. I'm not saying that he doesn't have these struggles. I'm not saying that he doesn't have these obstacles. But then they're just like a complete different set of struggles and a complete different set of obstacles. That paranoia, I feel it, but then it's like, it's not. Like, okay, I understand. Like, my expectation of the show is just like not what the show is. Like, I understand. Like, I feel like I'm just very, like, introspective, you know?
Yeah, so also I think you have to keep in mind that he literally, like, he died and then was reincarnated. So he kind of, like, a lot of the, I guess I said this before, but, like, a lot of the previous traumas and triggers are just no longer relevant, right?
I agree. And then I just wanted it to be relevant. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just, like, my expectation of what I want to see isn't what it is. But I'm not saying that it is bad because it's not what it is, like what I hope that it would be, because obviously everyone has different tastes. Not everyone likes like a psychological, like very unnecessarily pretentious and like complex story, which is like what I tend to gravitate towards, you know. I understand.
Yeah, so it was just kind of breath of fresh air kind of anime of 2021. I would say it's one of the better ones I've seen. And the characters were just as I remember them in the light novel. This is actually a pretty old story. I remember it was written like
early 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s. So
like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was an old one. So we've kind of like isekai has progressed since then, but this is still one of the OGs.
It's not one of the OGs. You're not talking about like the 80s and 90s. Okay.
It was one of them. So one of the older ones. We can say in that generation. Same with like One Piece or like Naruto Shippuden.
The start of kind of like light novels being more and more popular and being kind of this like part of the convergence culture, if you will. Like now that novels can be adapted into like anime and whatnot, I understand it's like one of the, I guess, OGs, but I just don't like it. But it's okay, and I still think that people should watch it if you're into isekai. Like, I feel like this is like great quality isekai because most isekai have like bad quality. Oh my god! But I do like ReZero in this, like as like quality wise, but story wise, I like ReZero way more.
Yeah, story rise. I actually do not like ReZero more
I
anymore.
know,
I feel like the main character there was a little useless.
I feel like he's very realistic.
Okay. Well, I guess that about wraps it up. What do you want to say here?
What do you want to rate it?
I would rate Mushoku Tensei season 1
And 2.
and 2.
Yeah.
Let me think.
Not the light novel.
Not the light novel. Light novel's a 10 out of 10 for me. It was great, and I actually
I know how much you like the light novel. That's why I don't want you to like put the light novel within it.
Yeah, so the thing is with the light novel is that like I actually don't reread things normally, right? I reread that. So it was actually pretty crazy. Anime is probably 8 out of 10 because I would say the Beast
9, you mean?
Sure. 8 out of 9. The Beast arc was a little random. I didn't like it that much. He was kind of trapped there. He didn't know what was going on. I don't know if that needed to be there. I actually I recognized the character from the light novel, that the main bad dude, but he wasn't really relevant later on, so it was kind of like a side arc. But yeah, I mean, overall, 8 out of 10. How about you?
Quality-wise, as an isekai, not counting my enjoyment, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Counting my enjoyment of it with like my own very subjective like taste, I would give it like a 5 or a 6 because I just don't like it. I know it's good, I just don't like it.
Well, that about sums it up.
Yes, still recommend.
Yeah, I would still recommend it.
Yeah. Especially like people who do like relate to like characters like that you kind of want to have like that fantastical element in your life, that kind of immersive experience. I do think that they would enjoy it.
Same here. Well, thanks guys for listening.
Well, goodbye.
Goodbye.